What if I told you that the most important clue in this entire case, the one detail that could bring Nancy Guthrie home tonight, has been sitting in plain sight this whole time? And what if I told you that the people closest to this investigation have been looking directly at it every single day without recognizing what they're seeing? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you are going to see this case in a way that will make it impossible to sleep tonight. There is something deeply wrong with this story. Not wrong in the way that missing persons cases are always wrong. Wrong in a way that is specific, deliberate, and calculated. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, vanished from inside her own home. And here is the first question that nobody is asking loudly enough. Why was there no sign of struggle? Think about that. Really sit with it. An 84-year-old woman does not simply decide to leave. She does not pack a bag and walk into the night. So either someone took her, in which case, where is the evidence of resistance? Or someone she trusted completely opened that door herself. And of those two possibilities, which one is more terrifying to you? Because to me, the second one is the detail that changes everything about how we should be looking at this case. Now, before I show you what I believe is hidden inside this story, I need you to understand something about the way evil operates. It does not arrive wearing a mask. It does not kick down doors at midnight dressed in black. Real, calculated, premeditated evil arrives with a familiar face. It knows your name. It knows your schedule. It knows which neighbor is away this weekend, which light you always leave on, which door you sometimes forget to double lock. Someone knew all of that about Nancy Guthrie. Someone had studied her life so thoroughly that they could move through it without leaving a single visible mark. And here is the question that has been burning in the back of every investigator's mind since the moment they walked through that eerily undisturbed home. How long had they been watching her before they moved? When Savannah Guthrie appeared on camera, the entire country held its breath. But I want you to watch that footage again, not for what she says. Watch it for what she almost says. Watch the moment right before the words come out, when her mouth opens and then closes again, like something inside her is fighting to stay contained. What was in that pause? What does Savannah Guthrie know or suspect that she is not yet ready to say out loud? I'm not accusing her of anything. I am telling you that in every single case I have ever worked, the family always knows more than they realize. There is always a memory, a conversation, a detail that seemed insignificant at the time that becomes the key that opens everything. Savannah is sitting on something. She may not even know she has it, but it is there. Here is where this case takes a turn that I have not heard anyone else discuss publicly. And this is the part that genuinely disturbs me. In cases with this profile, this level of calculated precision, this complete absence of physical chaos, investigators look for a very specific behavioral pattern in the days leading up to the disappearance. Not in Nancy, in the people around her. Did anyone in her life have a sudden change in routine? A conversation that ended too quickly? A visit that felt slightly off, slightly rehearsed, like someone checking something rather than someone simply stopping by? Because here is what 20 years taught me. The person responsible for this almost certainly made contact with Nancy Guthrie in the 72 hours before she vanished. They came to her. They had a reason. It seemed completely normal. And somewhere in someone's memory, that visit is sitting, unreported, unexamined, because at the time it didn't seem worth mentioning. That detail is the thread. And when investigators find it, this entire case unravels in a single afternoon. Now I need to stop and ask you something directly, something uncomfortable. Think about the people who have appeared most publicly in this story. Not Savannah, not the immediate family, the peripheral figures, the ones who showed up quickly, the ones who offered information before it was requested. Because in every dark case I have ever touched, there is always one person who inserts themselves into the narrative just slightly too early, just slightly too eagerly. Someone who wants to be seen as helpful, as devastated, as deeply involved in finding Nancy, because being visible in the search is the perfect cover for being responsible for the disappearance. Who in this story fits that profile? You already have a name forming in your mind, don't you? Hold on to that instinct. It matters more than you think. And now, the moment this video has been building toward, I want to speak to the one person watching this who has not slept properly since Nancy Guthrie disappeared. Not because they're worried about her, because they already know where she is. You've been watching the coverage obsessively. You've been monitoring the investigation updates, measuring how close they're getting, calculating your next move. And here is what I know about your psychological state right now that you haven't admitted to yourself yet. You are already planning to talk. Some part of your mind made that decision days ago. The body follows the mind, and your body has been screaming at you to end this. The shaking hands, the appetite that disappeared, the conversations you can't fully track because half your brain is always somewhere else. That is not guilt slowly arriving. That is guilt that has already taken over. and it is only waiting for the moment you stop pretending you can outlast it. Here is the twist that nobody saw coming. The investigation is not where you think it is. They are not still at the beginning. The digital trail alone, cell towers, search histories, financial transactions, camera footage from streets you didn't even notice had cameras, has already told a story. They are not looking for a starting point anymore. They are building a case around a person. And if you are that person, the only remaining variable is whether you walk through the door before they knock on it. That window, that single, irreversible window, is open right now. Tomorrow it may not be. To Savannah, to every member of the Guthrie family living inside this nightmare, there is an army that has not gone home. There are investigators who have made Nancy's name the last word they say before sleep. There are millions of people watching this screen right now who refuse to let this story die quietly in a news cycle. And to every single person watching, here is your role in this. Share this. Keep the noise at a level that makes silence impossible, because the guilty survive on quiet. They count on attention fading, on people moving on the world forgetting. Do not give them that. One tip, one moment of broken silence from one person who knows something. That is the entire difference between Nancy Guthrie coming home and a family never getting their answer. The clock is not just ticking, it is almost out of time. And I will not stop, not for a single day, until the truth surfaces, until the person responsible faces what they have done, and until Nancy Guthrie is finally brought home.